to us it was a way of keeping safe. And it's a control thing. There's so few things we couldn't control at that time, but that bit we could actually control, what came into the home and whether it was clean or not. When COVID hit, we were told we were going to die if we got it. So we kind of turned our house into a fortress. So literally, Fortress Venables, no one comes in, no one goes out.
We just closed everything. Jokingly, Jane said earlier about the Fort Venables, we put posters on the gate, both gates, do not enter, vulnerable person in this house, so nobody could sort of get through. For me going out, that was quite scary. Going out thinking, do I need to go out? But I think I went out for my own sanity to get out, because for my mental health and for Jane's mental health, I know we've been sort of living close quarters since Jane was diagnosed, but with the added pressure of the COVID, it did get to people. It got to me quite a bit. So I needed to get out just to have 5 minutes. I know it sounds selfish, to have 5 minutes away from the situation, where Jane couldn't get away from the situation. She's stuck with this horrible illness. It's not fair, but Jane being Jane, she's quite a strong person, so she will just get on with it.
I wouldn't even go as far as the front path. So when everybody else was out clapping on a Thursday for the NHS, I would go stand at the window and clap. My sort of physical health really went down. Not so much my pH health, that was fine actually, but my physical health on the distance that I could walk really, really deteriorated, because I just couldn't. There's only so many times you can walk up and down a garden, and trying to sort of like walk afterwards was a real big thing for me. And even now it's still not back to where it was before COVID. So shopping, first of all, was difficult, because trying to get the slots was a nightmare. And then all of a sudden everything opened up, all of the big stores, and pretty much all of them were offering priority shopping spaces. Brilliant. The shopping would turn up, and we had a conveyor belt going. So Liam, my husband, and Jack, my son, would be outside. They'd unpack it. The delivery driver would deliver it to the gate. They'd take it from the gate to outside the back door, give it a first wipe over. We'd bring it into the kitchen, my daughter and we'd wipe it again, so it was all doubly wiped before we wouldn't do anything. Fruit was washed, even more so than it would be normally. And then everything that we touched was then wiped. The sides were wiped down, everything. It took hours to do a weekly shopping to get it cleaned and everything. And we did the same with everything, every delivery that came. Sometimes we'd leave stuff outside, even if it was something that wasn't perishable. We'd leave it outside for a couple of days, so that to make sure there was nothing on the cardboard or anything like that, just to make really sure that it was free from any COVID.
The NHS, totally beyond imagination how they've coped with it, and the PH side as well. There's been quite a few of the PHs that have had COVID and not realised. I mean, and they've come through, whether it's the medication that the PH people are using, that the PH medicine is actually working in their favour and helping them get through it. Ironically, all four of us came down with it last week. That was really scary, really, really scary. I don't know what Jane was going through. It was very scary.
It sounds funny, but probably having PH actually helped cope with the whole situation better, because we're used to being super clean, we're used to being super careful of crowds and of other people with germs and everything like that. So that kind of all came normally. So I think that helped, actually, in the whole, where other people had their whole lives disrupted, we didn't. I'd sum up the pandemic experience by, it was a scary time, but it was also a bit of bonus time that we had with kids that are pretty much grown up, that are kind of pretty much leaving the nest. We had them back for a bit. So it was kind of like a bit of bonus family time that we had, just as a unit, but that didn't detract from how scary it was and how sort of trying to stop it from, literally, it was like Fortress Venables, trying to stop it from coming through the front door. Looking back on it, I think if we knew then what we know now, we probably wouldn't have been quite so stringent about it, but then maybe we would. I think it was just part of it. We were told to wipe our shopping. We did. We did it over probably what we needed to do. But to us, it was a way of keeping safe. And it's a control thing. There's so few things we couldn't control at that time, but that bit we could actually control, what came into the home and whether it was clean or not.
The last few years, for me personally, it's been a black hole. You try to blank it out, just that didn't. The last 2 years didn't happen, but it has. Whether I want to try and sort of forget it or not, but it was just a horrible 2 years to go through, and I hope we don't ever go through that again.